The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush is sponsored by the Word on Wealth Radio Network.
The airing of this program by this station is not an endorsement or recommendation by the station of the products or services discussed in the program. The station does not guarantee the results of any investments made by a listener to this program.
This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary is a San Diego financial solutions attorney, protecting people like you. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. Now,
you're live.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Quackenbush, your host here on the Word on Wealth. Thursday is the best day of the week, as far as I can tell, with everything to do with money. I've got my good friend Anthony Wright. He's with me every Thursday on the show. Anthony is host of Faith-Based Investing. That's heard actually right here on the K-Praise, KCBQ. He's got his own radio station, Sirius XM, satellite station number 131. Anthony is a great guy to have on the air. I'm going to open the line so you can call and ask Anthony your questions directly. The number is 888-344-1170, and I will give out his direct line later on in the show. But I want to welcome Anthony to the show. Anthony, my friend, I'm always so happy for Thursdays to come along so that I can talk to you. How are you doing today?
Hey, Gary, I'm good, buddy. Good to talk to you. Good to hear your voice again. Thanks for having me on, man. I think this is a highlight in my week.
Oh, I love it. I just think, I don't get the opportunity to talk to you that much. And I know we have stuff going on outside of the show, which is really good, but it's always like, I need to talk to Anthony, get my Anthony fix again. So we can get some listeners to call to see if they,
yes,
have personal questions for you. So
yes, call me up, please.
Call it up, man. 888-344-1170. Give Anthony a call. We can talk right here on the show. We will be nice. You can ask your question and get your answer directly from Anthony. So Anthony, what's new in your world?
Well, there's a lot of new stuff in my world. I mean, good grief, every day you turn on the TV, it's all kinds of fun stuff like cocaine in the White House, and that tanks the market. What does that have to do with the market? It's just every day in my world is a day of excitement because it's always so different. Tell me, what in the world does finding cocaine in the White House have to do with causing the market to drop? Who knows? But here we are. That's the world of an investment advisor.
I mean, that's funny because usually you tell me, I say, Anthony, does it matter that that we have lithium-ion batteries and that's destroying the environment, but now we've got sodium-ion batteries. Does that affect the market? And you go, yeah, it might a little bit. And I go, well, what about, the stock market did this or interest rates went up? Is that going to affect the market? You go, no, we anticipated that. So the market's already adjusted for it. And then, of course, then it's like, and what about if they find cocaine in the White House? Is that going to affect the market? Oh, you've already adjusted for that. We saw that coming. Not this one.
Didn't see that one coming. Couldn't predict that one.
So
although I guess his son is a cocaine crackhead. I mean, I guess it should be expected, but I mean, how in the world do you plan for stuff like that, right? I did hear a report this morning that the Secret Service found it in the residence, the White House residence, on the dining room table, but they mysteriously don't know how it got there. So go figure out how the most secure, safest place in our country, safest place in the world, with cameras everywhere, but son of a gun, they just can't figure out how it got on the dining room table in the residence. Wow. And then the stock market just goes in the toilet,
Well, that's because they know that there is a security breach and they can't figure it out. Like,
exactly.
Dumped a little pile of cocaine in the middle of the dining room table and then got back out and nobody noticed. And it's not even on the security cameras, for crying out loud. My goodness. Oh,
but Hunter just happened to be there Friday before they went to Camp David. I mean, come on. I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box, and I'm not an FBI agent, and I'm not a Secret Service guy, but common sense kind of tells you how it got there.
Yeah, it's sad because
And why does that cause the stock market to tank, for crying out loud?
well, let's ask Gary, your financial advisor. I have no idea. I mean, the stock market in general, I want to talk about that though, that kind of question, like, why does the market move so much with like, it's almost like emotional, like people's feelings, like, oh, the earth is shaking. So I don't trust the market. I'm pulling my money out. I mean, why is there so much movement with like emotion? Is it really that emotionally based? I thought it was based on computers and stuff.
No, Gary, it is 100% emotion based. We follow an index called the VIX, which is VIX. The VIX index is something the listeners can type up, Yahoo Finance or Google Finance or anything you want to type in. Just type in the VIX index, and the VIX index monitors the fear of the American public. Now, I don't know how in the world they figured that out, but they have figured out how to monitor the fear index. So when you log in there and look, it will, if the VIX index is high, you're going to see the stock market 2 minutes go down. If the VIX index is low, you're going to see the stock market grow. It's 100% emotion based.
That is wild. That is wild. So
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So the VIX index today is 15.44, whatever that means.
So there you go.
I don't know.
See?
Oh,
So you're seeing
my gosh,
you're seeing 15.44 in one day,
okay.
And then you got you've still got now, they come out a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago. I lose track of time. I get 50,000 things going on, but sometime in the last couple of weeks, they come out and said that the inflation actually went down. And then the Fed chairman stepped up to the mic and said, well, inflation might have went down, but we're still going to go up 1/4 of a point, possibly 2/4 of a point.
Wait a minute.
Come on, man. It's like, give us a break. If you quit hitting the brakes and quit raising interest rates, then this thing will level out and turn and go north where people could make some money in their retirement accounts, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sure seems that way. I know we're talking with my mortgage guy or my real estate guy a week ago Wednesday, and that was the thing. It's like the Fed came out with this announcement. Yeah, the inflation's going down, so things look good. However, we're going to pump the brakes. Maybe we're going to raise the rates a little bit, or maybe a lot, and we might do it 2 or 3 times between now and the end of the year. And I would love to know. I mean, after. I think on our next segment, I want to talk about that a little bit about, do we as individuals, like me as an investor, is that something I should be stressing out about? I get up in the morning, I look at my Yahoo chart and see where my investments are going. If that's stuff I really need to be worrying about, who should be worrying about that kind of thing? That's what I want to talk about. We are talking to Anthony Wright here. His number is 931-RETIRED, RETIRED, 931-RETIRED here on the Word on Wealth. Coming up next is more of Anthony Wright right here on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We're here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
You're saving and investing for the future, and that's good. Have you ever stopped to think, where does my money actually go? This is faith-based investing with Anthony Wright.
Most Christian families don't understand this one thing. The money that you're saving for retirement helps fund the abortion industry as well as other liberal anti-family causes. It's the sad, dirty little secret of American investing world. And here's the good news, though. You probably also didn't know that just a few minutes of your time and we'll screen and clean your investments for you. There's no cost, no obligation. Learn the truth about your own investment mix. Then the choice is yours. Remember, the word says when God's money is in the hands of the righteous, the people rejoice. Well, we also are fiduciary investment advisor representatives. That means that our firm makes a pledge to always act in your best interest. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com Download a free copy of my book, Faith-Based Investing, or call me at 931-RETIRED. And please don't forget, listen to Faith-Based Investing this weekend right here on Family Talk.
Gary, how do you and your team help our listeners avoid probate?
Well, first of all, probate is a process that involves attorneys, judges, and sometimes contesting parties. And so we try to avoid probate at pretty much all costs. The way we do that is setting up living trusts, setting up properly documented wills, putting the property like houses, cars, bank accounts in that trust so that it avoids probate. Probate is only necessary if the estate plan isn't set up quite right. So we help them get it set up right. And mainly that's done through a properly created living trust.
Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free initial consultation. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
Who will you trust with the biggest financial decision of your lifetime? If you're planning to buy or sell a home in San Diego County, do what I do and work with the true San Diego real estate experts. Ken Pecos and the Pecos Group helped me and my family. They can help you. This is Gary Quackenbush of The Word on Wealth. You hear Ken every week here on The Word on Wealth. He's our expert. He's got integrity, exceptional service, deep knowledge of the San Diego, Coronado, and South Bay regions. These are just some of the reasons that Ken Pecos has completed hundreds of transactions. He manages a powerful team of professionals at the Pecos Group. From single-family attached homes to luxury high-value waterfront properties to apartment buildings, Ken Pecos is ready to help you avoid problems and costly mistakes. Learn more online at kenpecos.com. That's Ken Pecos, Pecus.com. Or call 619-977-8419.
DRE number 010566969, brokered by eXp Realty.
Visit Dennis Prager. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Mike Gallagher and I are traveling
Ask for the legal help you need. Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. GQlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
You're live.
Right. Welcome to Word on Wealth. So happy to have you along. Today it's Anthony Wright, my favorite financial advisor, financial fiduciary, and friend. Lots of F's there. And I'm just glad to have him on the show with me today. Anthony, so glad to have you here. You know what? Before the show, was on the phone with Nicole.
Hey, all right.
Yep. So one of the things I've always been asking Anthony is like, so if you want to change financial advisors, you want to go from, an unmanaged account or a managed account, and I want to go to Anthony and get his advisors, what do you do? How difficult it is? And Anthony has always been explaining it's very easy. You don't have to go to your current financial advisor and apologize and say, hey, I want to take some money out of here and put it over here with, retirement specialty group with Anthony Wright and his guys. I want to do that. Is that okay? You don't have to do that kind of thing. It's totally up to you. It's your money. And, they're the ones that you're paying to do the right thing with it. So, but it's just fun. I mean, I'm working with Anthony's team and it's always a blast. I'm just commenting about dealing with Nicole today. And I love competence. I really do.
Love it.
I love when people.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is. It is. And it's like, I'm not, even if I'm not calling, Anthony and saying, hey, Anthony, what's going on with this, or how are we going to do that? Or, can I connect? How about if I connect this account and can I take out a few bucks? I don't even have to go that far. It's like, hey, Nicole, so how does this work? Oh, let me explain this. Let me explain that. Well, you know what? Let me run that by Anthony. So I appreciate, very much the competence of your firm and how easy it is to work with. And I know some friends of mine, are heavily invested, with your firm and all that. And it's always a pleasure. So of course, it's always fun to talk about that on the air. So,
Absolutely. I always love working with your clients too. You're great clients, and maybe somebody listening today will call in and ask us a live question.
I would love a live question. Yeah, I should text Nicole, call up. Hey, the number is 888-344-1170. Call up and ask your live questions. 888-344-1170. Nicole, if you're listening, you better call. You better call or text her here. So 888-344-1170. Calling to ask Anthony a question. Hey, the thing that I would love to get for my clients, because we talk to them all the time about money and inherited money and clients that have money that are doing an estate plan and trying to figure out what to do with it. People that now have inherited money, they're trying to figure out what to do. And they're kind of like two different worlds in taxation. They're two different worlds. And, one is the money was earned and, dug out of the earth to be able to put it away. And then the kids inherited. It's like it falls out of the sky. And I think there's still this, big responsibility, whether you inherit it or whether you put it away. There's a big responsibility to make sure you manage your money and handle it appropriately. Don't be a flake with your money. Don't be casual. It's money controls, money rules. Everybody needs money, like it or not. The world runs on money. So I wanted to know, where can people just look for reliable financial advice? And I know, we can call Anthony, but you've got your world and things going on and your radio shows and TV shows and all that. And you don't just sit and wait for phone calls and say, I hope one of my, 1,000 clients calls me today just so I can answer a question. If somebody just kind of wanted to look at a reliable source, a non-freak out source, what would they do? I know number one, I can tell you your newsletter, which is really awesome. You can subscribe to your newsletter, but are there kind of resources that we can look to just to kind of see if the market is doing what we want it to do? What's your thought?
Yeah, there's some good stuff out there. Obviously I don't know. There's so many newsletters. There's so many people that have opinions. It's kind of hard to say, go follow this particular person, because in the end, a lot of these newsletters, they just try to slant one direction. And there's a couple of them that I'm thinking of that are pretty popular, and people buy them and follow their advice. Well, let's assume this is the way this thing works. So they'll say, well, we help you with the buy and sell. So we'll tell you when to buy, and then we'll tell you when to sell. Well, you get the newsletter today and it'll say buy at, 47 cents a share, whatever. Well, you'll log in to buy and it's already at 90 cents a share. Mm-hmm. So what they did was they used their newsletter base to drive up the price of that stock double, and then they bail out and get their money. So it's really hard to go online and find a source to follow. And the ones we follow as investment advisors, those are all security exchange, regulated, comes straight from, we get a wire, so to speak, straight from the federal government that's telling us things that happen before it's going to happen. The housing report, they'll send something, says the house.
Got to call her, Jessica.
In 2 weeks. So, we know if the housing reports are good, then the market's going to go up. If the housing reports are bad, but just being the consumer, by the time the consumer gets it on television or social media or the newsletter they subscribe to, they are generally already too late. So it's kind of hard for the end user to to be ahead of that. You really have to be in the industry to do that. I know it's not what everybody wants to hear, but it is factual and it's
Right.
true. It's just
That's
it's
that's
just hard.
exactly. That's the reality. That's the reality. It's more. I
Yeah.
think more you need to connect yourself with a person that sits in this all day long,
Right.
like you.
Right.
Anthony, we have a caller, Jessica. We want to welcome Jessica to the Word on Wealth. Jessica, how you?
Hey, welcome, Jessica.
Hey, I'm actually an admin at a finance company, a management company, and I always look at try to find like faith-based investments. And so when I hear that you do that, I'm like, how does he do that? Because when I look at all these big companies, they're all invested in something I don't believe in. Like, it's like, where do you draw the line? I was wondering how you choose, or do you just not invest in all the big name companies?
Hey, that's a great question. Thank you for calling in. And it's always good to talk to you, our listeners. Here's the thing that we do, Jessica. We go out and screen those annual 10K reports. Now, I agree with you that you've heard me talk about on Gary's show, the FANG, which is F-A, I think it's a weird spelling, like F-A-N-N-G. I think it's there's an extra, it's Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Amazon. So it is F-A-A-N-G. So we know that those companies right there are dirty. That's the largest 5 that financial advisors use across the country. But I'll tell you, there's some really good faith-based companies out there. And Jessica, there's about 90% of the companies on the New York Stock Exchange, on the NASDAQ, on the stock market, there's 90% of them that pass our faith-based questionnaire, our faith-based screening, because we go out and screen that annual 10K report. Then that tells us what they're investing in, and they can't hide from it because their auditors is who furnished that and told us where the money's going. But I got good news for you. It seems like that everybody is going woke, or it seems like everybody is, funding abortions, but they're really not. 90% of the companies on the stock market are faith-based, but they're just afraid to say anything because they don't want all these woke protests in front of them. And that's why I never named them on air. I've shared some of them privately with Gary off the air, and Gary's like, wow, who in the world would have thought that, So, I'll be happy to share some of them with you, sometime off the air privately. I can send you an email, some of the ones that we deal with. But look, it's companies that you deal with every day. It's probably today you went and got your groceries at one of them. Gary probably knows which one I'm talking about. Yep. And then probably over the 4th of July, you probably ordered your food to go and they brought it to your house. These are large household name companies that they just don't want to come out there and take a stand and then have people picketing. And then all of a sudden, they feel the pressure of the woke movement or the LGBT community or abortions, Planned Parenthood. So great question. That's how we do it. But be encouraged, my sister. 90% of the companies on stock market pass the faith-based screening.
Okay, yeah, I think my faith-based screener was a lot stricter when I was online. It seemed like all the companies were pro, stuff I don't believe in, but maybe with your screening, it has to do with what they actually, their money goes towards.
It does. Okay. Ours is based on what's in their annual 10K report. And that's because it's audited financials. The SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, requires them to file that annual 10K report. Auditing CPA firms like Baker Tilly, PricewaterhouseCoopers, they're not going to put their reputation on the line. So they're going to go in and do an audit, and then they're going to disclose to the public this is where their money's going. And then bingo, we got them. We caught them with their hand in the cookie jar. So we're out. We don't have anything to do with them. Some of the ones that you're probably talking about are social media commits. There's a lot of things on social media that just isn't true. But when you actually look at where their money's going is what we use, because that's the telltale sign that we use to know.
Well, thank you. Yeah, because a lot of them, say a lot of things on their own websites, but then you go further to see what they're actually spending their money on, and that's how you make your decision. So
That's it. That's
cool.
it.
Oh, thank you so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, Jessica. Call anytime. Thanks.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna take up on that email because I would be interested in a little list.
Yeah, you bet. Be happy to. Yep. Thank you.
so much.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Terrific. So yeah, Jessica, thank you very much for calling. That's terrific. Great job being a part of the Word on Wealth today. That's terrific. And this is what we talk about in faith-based investing, and I love it. Actual application. And Anthony, I know you're a busy guy. I've got more time on my show. I don't know whether you can stay over the break or not. But
Sure. Yeah, I can stay. Let's do it. Yeah.
okay. What I would
1 minute.
love to do is not to be bashing on the FANG, although I love that. But I want to, when we return, what I want to talk about specifically is what you told me about, starting to get into it a little bit with Jessica, and that is, people really believe if you're not in the big Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, if you're not in those, you just can't make any money because they're so big and they make so much money. But I want your response to that. Like, what would you say to somebody saying, well, I'm in the, all those in the FAA and G because they're the ones that make all the money. And I want you to address that coming up next here on the Word.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
You got it.
To get a hold of Anthony, that's 931 retired, 931 retired. Go to his website, BibleSafeInvesting.com. You can get a free copy of his book, Bible Safe Investing. It will be downloaded to your email. You can also find it right there at 9. The BibleSafeInvesting.com. Right. But up next,
You've got questions. We've got answers. This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com. Tell a friend about this broadcast outreach, The Word on Wealth, with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
You're live.
right. We are the Word on Wealth with Anthony Wright. Thursday is my favorite day of the week when we talk about money and the real, to make sure that we are okay for retirement and coming up on that, however long away that is, whether you're, a year from it, in it, or thinking about it off in the future. Retirement Specialty Group, that's Anthony Wright's company. They're the place to go. His website, BibleSafeInvesting.com. You can get his free book, Bible Safe Investing, learn about how it works. And of course, you have his direct line, which is 931-RETIRED. So our caller, Jessica, brought up a really interesting point. She was asking about, well, how do you screen and clean investments, for based on faith? And we were talking about the annual 10K reports that get audited and show exactly where companies spend their money. And we know that the big companies, the FAANG, F-A-A-N-G, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, usually if you say, I'm staying out of those, they're dirty, people will say, at least I've heard people say, oh my gosh, well, if you're not in those, then you can't be making any money. Those are the big money makers. But I know Anthony has a different opinion on that. And that's what I want to get from him during this segment.
Yeah, a very, very, very good question. And I really appreciate Jessica calling in, and anyone else that's out there listening, feel free to call in. But Gary, you bring up a good point, and Jessica kind of was leaning toward that as well. Look, hey, if you're not in this FAANG, if you're not in these big companies, everybody I looked at is dirty. So how do you get into a company, and how do you invest in a company that's going to make you some money? Well, if you will look at their return versus the faith-based companies that we deal with return, we absolutely smoke them. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, I think out of all of those, and this is going back, let's see, where are we right now? Man, I got so much going on. January, February, March is first quarter. April, May, June, second quarter. We just finished second quarter. Yeah, so if you go back and into the second quarter when they posted their earnings, I want to say the Alphabet, which is Google, was the one that had the highest return, and it was like 9%. But our highest return in our faith-based model brought in 36%.
Wow.
So 9 versus 36. So the myth is busted. It's not true. You don't have to be in the FAANG. You don't have to be in the top 5 to make money. And these companies that we deal with are large, as you listeners heard me tell Jessica, they're very large name companies. I mean, Hobby Lobby is not a publicly traded company, but it's companies like Hobby Lobby. Like when you hear their name, you're like, oh wow, I was at Hobby Lobby yesterday. So Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is one of those household names. Now, again, they're privately held and they're not publicly traded, but it's names like Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A that we know, and they are publicly traded companies, and they do pass the faith-based screener. But that's part of what we get paid to do, is keep you clean. So, we're not just going to throw them out there freely on the air.
Yes. And when we were talking, the companies you were referring to with Jessica, I mean, some of those that we're talking about have, 900 or 1,000 or 1,100 stores across the nation. I mean, they're organizations that are literally household names. And when you talk to me about them, I was really surprised. And I mean, for me, it was thrilling, because you always think, oh, everybody's going to be dirty. Everybody's got their fingers in all the wrong stuff. And you find out some of these big companies they're very particular. They really want their shareholders and their investors, they really want to take them down the right road and make sure that they're not supporting things, unintentionally, that they don't want to support. So I think that's really great.
Yeah, and I doubt very seriously that anybody in the woke movement or anybody that's in the way liberal left is listening to you and I anyway, right?
I don't think
So Jessica, I'm gonna if you're still listening, I'm gonna leak out 2 of them right here. I don't ever do this, but since you called in, I'm gonna leak out 2 of them. So one of them is Costco. I told you probably bought your groceries yesterday. That's Costco. Costco passes our faith-based screener. And the one that I said would probably bring food to your home probably last night or over the 4th was Domino's Pizza. So just to prove my point, right there are two very solid investments that pass the faith-based screener. So the reason I don't go down the list and give all 7,800 of them is because, one, we don't have a lot of time, and two, I don't want, the woke people, blasting them and blowing their phone up. Well, I heard on the radio you don't support the, liberal agenda, and you don't support, whatever, Yeah. So I don't think there's anybody listening to me and you have to worry about that. So I threw those two out there for the listeners, and you guys can thank Jessica for that. But that gives you a small indication as to the big, large companies that we deal with, and we get some nice returns, and we do a lot better than the FANG, and we keep you clean. How about that?
That's terrific. That's super exciting. I love that. And that's why I like having us, on this show where we're giving all this information out to people. It's super good. Thanks for sharing that, Anthony. Really appreciate it. I know one other thing that we had mentioned is that when when companies are really, really big, like you get Google, where their stock is just outrageously, there's so much money out there that when the market moves around, they actually can move the market. So it's almost like you want to be away from these really, really big companies, especially because they're dirty. But I mean, besides that, if they're that big and they move the market themselves, why would we want to be involved? Let's stay away from them. Let them move the market sloppily like they do. And
good point.
Other more stable.
Yeah. That's a great point. Because if you're, in fact, I like it, the fact that you made that point, because if you're watching the news, you're 100% spot on, Gary. Who sways that market? Something happens at Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg does something at Facebook, sways the market. Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, they sway the market. So all of a sudden you turn your television on, and the S&P's down 33 points or something, or, the Dow Jones is down. I just about guarantee you check their stock, and you're going to see that it's down. And but yet I can show you the ones that we work with, and they won't be down at all. So sometimes people will call and say, "Oh, Anthony, the Dow's down 400 points today. Is my account down?" And we'll pull it up, and no, you're not down at all. Actually, you're ahead today. Actually, you've gained $1 a share.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're spot on. Good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because you don't want to be in something like that that's going to sway the market, and then you get caught in the current.
Yeah, exactly. Because some people like to. When the market was really, really good and everybody felt like they were a hero. I don't need my financial advisor. I'm doing 20% this year. It's like, well, everybody was. So
exactly.
I'm just going to plop it down to the S&P and keep it there. And you realize, well, the S&P, the 500 moves. There's companies that move in and out of it, but it's like that's kind of the standard that people are trying to, kind of beat the S&P. So it's like, why not just be out of it and be in investments that literally do beat the S&P? I don't know.
I like it.
This stuff is so complicated for a lot of my clients. This is all new. Like for me personally, it's like I am very comfortable with real estate and how that works, and rentals and rental income. I'm very comfortable with self-employed income and taxes and all that. But when I get into this world of the financial markets and how they move and when they move and what's good and what's bad, and there's just so much out there just screaming at you, like, the Dow's dropping, it's going down, it's going to be a bad market, and oh my gosh, this index is going up, that. And then to me, I don't like the feeling of, if I am trying to manage my money and I'm going, okay, I've got this money, that's my retirement account. Oh my gosh, something's happening. What am I going to do? I need to do something. I need to move. And to me, it's really, really unsettling.
Yeah, it is.
So that's why I want, you to be there, and you're the guy. It's like, you worry about that stuff. That's your deal. And you take care of me, and take care of my money. And you can be the one watching that so that I can just say, you know what, that's Anthony's job. Anthony's got this. I just don't want to worry about that because I don't understand this. I don't do it all day. And I appreciate so
Absolutely.
much of that. You guys, if you want to get on Anthony's ship, it's the time to do it. 931 retired, BibleSafeInvesting.com. He's awesome. He's got a great team that works with him. It's fun. It's really, really fun to work with him.
Thanks for having me on, Gary. Thanks for helping me get the word out. And thanks, Jessica, for calling in today.
All right. Thanks, man. Anthony, have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you staying the extra time today.
Yeah, you too, pal. See you, bud. All right. Bye-bye.
Coming up next, I'm going to do a little bit of a summary on what do you do with investments in your family trust? How do you hold them? We're going to talk about that a little bit coming up next, right here on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We are here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
So Gary, we've talked a long time about estate administration. So what is that and why is it important?
Estate administration is the distribution part of estate planning. So when someone passes away and they leave money to beneficiaries, the property has to be administered. So it's like taking it from the decedent to the survivor. That's called the estate administration process. So usually you're going to have a successor trustee that's named in the trust. So have no idea what they're doing because they've never done it before. So then they call on GQ Law and we walk them step by step on how to be a successful and good successor trustee. We also do the required notifications. We notify the Department of Health Services and all the legal requirements so that they can have the estate administration done properly. We help successor trustees be successful.
Call or click to request your free consultation. gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST, gqlaw.com.
Lung disease is the third leading cause of death
Go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500.
You're live.
All right, welcome to Word on Wealth. Happy Thursday, everybody. Don't you just love having Anthony Wright on the show? It's fun to have callers and to ask specific questions. You always have a little bit different question or take on things, and I really, really appreciate that. Hey, I do want to, from an estate planning standpoint, in an investment standpoint, and I know sometimes, you know, you maybe have like this lifelong friend that can help you with financial advice, and they've got, you know, you got this financial advisor that you just really like, and, you know, and you've got things taken care of, and that's really great. If you have that, that's wonderful. Good job. If you don't, then let Anthony do it. Okay. 931 retired, 931 retired. Let him handle it for you instead of stressing out about it. If you don't have your favorite friend that can help you with it. And I feel the same way about estate planning too. If you, for example, in like the administration of a trust, like parents pass away or a friend passes away, and now you're acting as the successor trustee, trying to manage that money and figure out how to get it to the beneficiaries appropriately in the right time and do the appropriate accountings and all the legal requirements. If you've got like a lifelong friend that's helping you with that and they know really what they're doing, that's terrific. If you don't, call us, 855-500-TRUST. That's what we do every single day. Is we deal with distribution of people's assets from the deceased person to the survivors and getting that accounted for and all the legal notices and all the legal requirements done so that you as a successor trustee, you can do your job right according to California law. And when it's done, you can be done with your job and not have it linger and not wonder whether it was done right. Call us and we can help you with that. 855-500-TRUST. Let GQ Law be your advisor as a successor trustee. Let GQ Law help you get your estate plan set up. That's what we're here for. 855-500-TRUST. Let's say that you do have your estate plan set up. You've got a living trust. You have the will, the power of attorneys, healthcare directives, the transfer documents, comprehensive transfer documents, the personal property assignments, all that stuff is done. And you're super happy you got your estate plan in order. Okay. What do you do with your investments? Okay, now let's pretend like if you have an account at Charles Schwab, just because they're a big place. I like Charles Schwab, great company. But let's say you have an account at Charles Schwab, like a brokerage account, and you look on it and it says John Brown brokerage account. You go, yes, that's where my money is. I put money in there every week out of my paycheck, and I'm building that money because that's going to be that's my investment account, and that's where I'm going to move the money in the appropriate stocks and bonds or mutual funds, or do it in ETFs or not. I mean, just whatever you're going to do, that's where you have that money. Well, if you look at your brokerage statement and that statement says John Brown, it's not in your trust, and it should be. Okay. If you have a living trust, your brokerage statement should indicate that that account is in your living trust. It should say on there, John Brown, trustee of the Brown Living Trust, whatever the trust is called. Okay, but it's got to be on that statement. If it's not there, then that account is not in your trust. And what is the problem with that? We've talked about this a lot. If it is not titled properly in your living trust when you pass away, then that money is not manageable, handleable, touchable by your successor trustee. It's outside of the trust. And if it's outside of your trust, it goes to probate. We're trying to avoid probate because probate involves judges, attorneys, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of hassle. Totally avoidable. So if your Schwab account doesn't say that it's in your trust, then you need to open another Schwab account because they're not going to change the title. You can't go to a company like Charles Schwab and say, hey, I want this to be in my trust. Please put it there. There's not a box or a drag and drop to open a new, to change the name of that account. It is more like getting a brand new account titled in the name of the trust. You may or may not be able to do it online. You may have to go into a branch office to get that done, or have your financial advisor do it for you. So what you do is you tell your financial advisor, I want the account and I want it in the name of my trust. Here's my trust. Here's the copy of my trust. Here's trust certification, whatever documents they want, you provide to your financial advisor. And then the account is opened. And now when I look at it, my Schwab account statement will say, John Brown Living Trust. So that right there shows that it's in the trust. And remember, if it is in the trust, it is then under the control of your trustee or your successor trustee. So the key of having it under the control of your successor trustee is that once you can no longer be the trustee of your trust because you're either incapacitated or incompetent or you've died, then your successor trustee steps into your shoes, and following the instructions of your trust, they can then do what the trust says. And it's, it'll say, divide it in fourths and give it to my children. But if they're not 35 yet, hang on to that money. They got to go through, they have to be old enough. They have to be mature enough. They have to handle their money a certain way. But the trustee is the one in charge of that. So that's the important part. putting your accounts in the trust. We talk about that with Anthony quite a bit. We talk about your money, where it goes, how it's invested. And that's great. That's great that you're doing that. That's great that you have your money, but you need to have it in your living trust because we got to plan for the inevitable. I mean, there's 100% chance you're going to die. There's a 70% chance you're going to become incapacitated sometime before you die. Maybe you'll be young, maybe you'll be old, but having an incapacity for 90 days or more and not having any money available, or having your money tied up or locked up, or if it's not properly, funded into your trust, there could be a 40-day death hold put on your bank accounts, your investment accounts, or whatever, and you want to get that taken care of now. So if you have questions on this, and you don't have anybody that's helping you out with that, helping you understand it, that's my baby. That's my arena. You can call me at 855-500-TRUST. And while you're at it, if you do not have a living trust, then call me. Let me do it. I'll have an initial consultation with you. We do not charge for the initial consultation. It's a 30-minute consultation. We'll go over your options, what assets you have. We'll have you fill out a worksheet, and we'll work through the numbers and see what your estate plan is capable of doing and what it would cost and how long it would take. Right now, our turnaround is about 2 weeks. We are pretty quick at getting estate plans done. So if you've got travel plans and you're saying, hey, August 1st, I'm out of here, I'm going on a trip. Well, then let's get your trust done before you go. Call though, if you get too short of time, it gets really kind of crazy, and you don't want to be signing a trust the day before you go hop on a plane. There's too much to think about when you're going on your vacation. And so give us a call on that 855-500-TRUST. I also want to encourage you to go to my website. There's a bunch of free stuff on there. The website is gqlaw.com, like Gary Quackenbush lawyer. So it's gqlaw.com. And you can click on the book called Living Trust Basics. That will download to your email a PDF of a book called Living Trust Basics. It's short. It's actually like a summary book and explains how estate planning works. So most people find it really helpful, and hopefully you do. And that would be great. Then you can call and get your initial consultation for free. Or, if you're ready to go, ready to get on it, then give us a call, 855-500-TRUST. The next thing, while you're on my website, if you'd like, there's a book called Accidentally Self-Employed. That's tells the differences between partnership, limited partnership, LLC, and corporation, how they are created, how they're financed, how they're managed, how they're taxed. It's all in the books. It's a very short book. It's all in a summary format. That's the way I write, summary format, because I just need my notes and I need to be able to figure out what summary. So it's those I feel are super helpful. There's another one while you're at it. It's called the tax bankruptcy. A lot of people don't know that you can get rid of taxes in bankruptcy. In many cases, you can. There's a book on my website about that. These are all free. While you're there, it's going to be on every page of the website. You just click on the right book cover, and then you can get the free books. All right, what we got coming up is the Finding Joy Friday is our next show coming up here on the Word on Wealth. You've got, remember, our lineup for next week. We've got Tax Problem Solving Day with Rich Mathern on Mondays. We've got me on Tuesdays talking about trust administration, estate planning. Wednesday, Ken Pecos of the Pecos Group, our real estate professional. Thursdays, we've got Anthony Wright like we did today. And on Fridays, we have our Finding Joy Friday. So I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow. If you have questions for our guests tomorrow on our Finding Joy Friday, then make sure that you have ways to call up. And remember that our number in the studio, call in, it's 888-344-1170, 888-344-1170. If you want to get a hold of me for your free consultation, I suggest you do it pretty soon. Summer's still up pretty quickly because people want to get their estate plans done before vacation. It makes sense to me. Don't leave without it. It is 855-500. Call me when you just say, I need to talk to Gary. I want to get a estate plan before I go on the trip. My trip is scheduled for July 21st. So let's get you in as soon as we can. 855-500-TRUST. All right, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your afternoon. Enjoy it. Go to my website and we tell you podcast, any Google podcast platform, you can find the Word on Wealth podcast, and you can still on the show. And welcome to the Word on Wealth. Talk tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of the afternoon.
Tell a friend about the Word on Wealth, featured since 1995. With financial solutions attorney Gary Quackenbush, an expert in estate planning, wills and trusts, and tax problem solving. Gary is past president of the California Society of Tax Consultants. Reach out to us. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. The information you hear on the Word on Wealth is for general information purposes only. This program discusses general financial and legal topics. Seek